Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, April 3rd, 2020, 11 a.m. This is your morning update related to COVID-19 coronavirus here in Ohio. I'm Stephanie Haney. We do these updates every weekday at 11 a.m. and then also again at 2 p.m. when the Ohio Department of Health releases its new numbers related to confirmed positive test cases here in the state of Ohio. So this morning, I'll give you the latest headlines related to how COVID-19 coronavirus is impacting us here in Ohio, and also a look at how it's impacting us nationally and on a world stage. So I'll start off with the numbers from yesterday that were released by the Ohio Health Department on April 2nd at 2 p.m. As of right now, we know that there are 2,900 confirmed positive cases of COVID-19 coronavirus here in Ohio. 802 people have been hospitalized, and 260 of those cases are in the intensive care unit. The death toll in Ohio has unfortunately reached 81 people, and the age range of people who have tested positive is less than 1 year old all the way up to 99 years old, with the median age being 53, and a relatively even split between males and females being impacted by this, 49% male and 51% female. Yesterday, in Governor Mike DeWine's daily press conference, he announced that he has extended the stay-at-home order to May 1st. So that means that we need to all stay at home except for essential trips, essential travel from now through at least May 1st. And that does include the closure of non-essential businesses for in-person operations as well through May 1st. Other changes as well were included in that order. Businesses must now establish a maximum number of shoppers in the store at a given time. And the state is now also asking anyone who enters Ohio to self-quarantine for 14 days to also help stop the spread of COVID-19 coronavirus here in Ohio. Committees will be asked to judge if two local health departments have come to different conclusions on whether or not a business is essential. So there is a process in place if local health departments are not agreeing on the rationalization that a company has offered in order to determine that it is an essential business. There were also additional changes made that have been talked about a lot, and a lot of people have talked about weddings and funerals and those kind of things. So we now know for certain, according to the updated order, that all weddings must follow the restrictions on mass gathering. So if you are going to move forward with a wedding, no more than 10 people can be present. That's pursuant to the current guidelines of no gatherings of more than 10 people. Campgrounds are also closed. Now that's with the exception of situations where a camper or an RV in a campground is used as someone's actual home. So RV parks will remain open as those are living situations, but not recreational camping facilities. And if those people are unable to get safe alternate housing, then those areas will be able to remain open. Fishing is allowed to continue, but proper physical distancing must be observed during that time. And our Ohio State parks will also remain open, but again, proper physical distancing needs to be maintained. We did announce this week a couple changes. The Cleveland Metro Parks here are going to be closing some roadways to cars to allow more space for people who are walking and people who are riding bikes. There will also be restrictions on parking to make sure that people aren't getting too close as they're parking in order to take advantage of the parks. In Summit County, for example, we also know that the sheriffs will be patrolling in order to enforce physical distancing. They did stress the case as well that they'll be enforcing it between adults and children as well. So keep that in mind as you go out with your family that you may have been self-isolating with, self-quarantining with. You know, it's a confusing visual to other people if you're out in public with your family group who you're used to being very close to in your personal space. Then you go out in public and you're still remaining close. So let's keep that in mind as we go out in public with the people that we are living with in the same space, that's a little bit confusing for other people, and keep that in mind. In the Cuyahoga County Jail, there are now a total of 6 inmates who have tested positive for COVID-19 coronavirus. 2 more are suspected of possibly having the virus, and the Cuyahoga County Executive has said that they are prepared to handle this. So those particular inmates are now sharing a pod and being monitored by medics. Let's take a look at the national numbers now. So far, we have had 6,000 deaths in the U.S. That number is up 2,000 in the last 48 hours. A quarter of those deaths are in New York alone. Currently, the total number of U.S. cases is at 245,540, and we have a known total of 9,100 recoveries from that number. Worldwide, there have been more than 1 million cases, with 53,000 deaths and 211,000 global recoveries from COVID-19 coronavirus. Now, keep in mind, the experts do say that most cases only cause mild symptoms, and it's older adults and people with pre-existing underlying conditions that are more likely to experience the severe illnesses like pneumonia and death related to COVID-19 coronavirus. But we're also getting some interesting perspective from Chris Cuomo, CNN anchor, who now has COVID-19 coronavirus and continues to be anchoring and reporting from home. He said something interesting yesterday that I want to share with all of you. He said that yes, it's responsible journalism to share that 80% of these cases don't require hospitalization, that it can be managed at home. But he did say, from someone who is managing it at home, that it is incredibly difficult. So we need to keep that in mind when we're thinking about the people who are at home with this, with the COVID-19 coronavirus. Just because they're not hospitalized doesn't mean they aren't dealing with something incredibly intense, incredibly severe, and very scary because of all the information out there and because we know how bad it can get. So just keep that in mind. If there is someone in your life who has been diagnosed positive with COVID-19 coronavirus, that you're checking on them emotionally, obviously keeping your physical distance, not necessarily going over there or anything like that, but giving them a call, sending them a FaceTime. And I've seen a lot of that in my circles in social media. So I think that's really kind to see people stepping up and people being open about testing positive for this, which is something that we need to consider as we want to make sure that we don't stigmatize the people who have become infected with the virus. That's our update for you at 11 a.m. here on Friday, April 3rd. We will be back here at 2 p.m. with another update for you. That'll be right before Governor Mike DeWine's press conference. For more coverage on COVID-19 coronavirus, of course, visit our website all day long, WKYC.com, our app, the WKYC app. We also have our noon show, Connect, with Jay Crawford and Monica Robbins. That is on 3 News, also on WKYC.com and streaming on our app. And then, of course, we'll see you all evening long at 5 p.m. on What's New, 6 p.m. on What Matters Most, 7 p.m. on Front Row, and 11 p.m. on What's Next. I'm Stephanie Haney. I'll see you back here in a little bit.